Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. There's just about a week to go before the April 15th tax deadline, so today we're going to find out about some last-minute tax tips. Tax time is also a good time to make an assessment of your retirement plans or to establish a plan if you don't already have one. So to find out more about taxes and retirement planning, I'm joined by a certified financial planner from Bristol, Vermont. Christine Moriarty has been with us before to talk about financial matters. Her insights on money and families have appeared in publications including the Boston Globe, USA Today, and Fidelity Focus magazine. She's received the Vermont Financial Services Advocate of the Year Award from the Small Business Administration. Welcome back.
Thanks, Judy,
It's taken a lot of breaths to read all your accolades.
But I have the most fun being here and sharing it with more people, so thanks for having me.
Okay, April 15th, that date everyone knows, just around the corner, and it's one of the most important things to be sure to file your taxes. That's number one.
Yes. What I run into often is people who say, hey, I'm not going to file because I owe money, and I don't have the money to do that. And what I tell people is, file anyway. The IRS will not come and knock on your door and get you because you didn't pay, but they will work with you over time to make a installment payment.
And so even if they don't catch up right away, it's not a good idea to put it off and then forget about it maybe, and then you're in trouble.
When you don't file your taxes, there's a penalty just for not filing. And then on top of that penalty, there's interest, because you didn't file your taxes, so
it's a snowball effect.
Snowball. So it's better to just file your taxes, take care of the payments over time, and work with them.
And April 15th is also an important deadline for some seniors. Why is that?
If seniors are 70 and a half, okay, so once you're 70 and a half before that April 15th deadline, you have to start making withdrawals from your 401ks, IRAs, and some other retirement plans. So if you're 70 and a half and you haven't taken any withdrawals, call your provider, mutual fund, your work, whatever, and ask about an RMD. It's called a required minimum distribution. And everyone should be taking them once a year once you're 70 and a half. Even if you don't need the money, you have to take the money out because the government didn't get any taxes, think of it this way, when you put your contribution in.
Right.
And now they want to be sure they collect something. So at 70 and a half, that's the magic number.
Okay, well, a lot of people like to improve their retirement picture. What tips do you recommend?
I tell people to think about their lifestyle, both now and in retirement, to think about savings and debt, and then also to think about the technical side of retirement. So there's 3 different pieces here that we have to work with.
Let's talk about lifestyle.
Lifestyle. It's easier to live on less. Do I sound like a broken record or whoever, the old-fashioned kind of tip? But really, it's things as simple as if you live large now and aren't able to save for retirement, well, you're already living paycheck to paycheck, then you're spending too much and making choices that are going to damage your retirement. Whereas if you can live smaller now, whether it's a smaller house that people talk about, or whether it's just not going out to dinner so much, or doing different kinds of activities that cost less money, then you'll be more prepared for retirement because it won't be such a shock to your system later on.
And also, too, I think while you're going through that and doing those things, take that money that you would have been spending and put it into a savings account, as opposed to just say, well, we're saving this money, but actually maybe you're spending it somewhere else.
Right, exactly. So it's looking at the overall picture, so having some place to put it. So great point, Judy, to put it tucked away in a savings account or your actual retirement plan.
To physically make that
step. If you don't do that, then we don't do it. We're all creatures of habits. So another lifestyle thing is living on less by not having debt. So it's very easy to say, okay, well, I can carry that credit card for a little while. Well, of course you can, but then you don't have that extra money to put somewhere. And it's better to just get in the habit, like our grandparents, of no debt.
Right.
So whether it's no debt because I'm going to have my house paid off soon, whether it's no debt because I'm going to run that car another 3 years and save $300 a month to put towards a new one. Whatever, we are such a debt-oriented society, because I always catch myself and try not to share with the salesperson if I walk into a big box store somewhere and they say, oh, but you can buy that and the payments are only $99 a month. And I'm thinking, $99 a month.
For how many months?
Right, exactly. And what's the interest rate? So it just simplifies your life. So that's a great lifestyle way. It's financial, but it's also simplifies your life, less payments.
You know, it can be kind of daunting if you start looking at all the bills that you have and where you should start. I mean, start small, you always say.
I typically start small. So if you aren't saving at all for retirement right now, then stop putting $5 a week away. That would actually change things. So another one is, we talked about, you know, enjoying the simple pleasures, but maybe one of the simple pleasures is starting to cook more at home or do things differently. So an actual financial tip is, people who go out to eat more often than not, if you just stopped having a lunch, let's say $10 lunch, I don't know where you can get a good $10 lunch, but often you can, and maybe a $40 dinner, that's $50. If you are able to take that money instead and put it in retirement, that's $600 a year. Now think, for some people who go out more often, if they could do one lunch and one dinner a week, that's $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year. That's going to grow in a way that's positive for something, a longer term goal.
Right, but once again, take that money physically and put it into the account.
Absolutely. Even if you have to write the check because, hey, we decide not to go out to dinner tonight, I'm writing a check and going to put it in my savings account for retirement, or write to my investment account.
So what about the savings side of the equation?
The savings, we just gave some tips by how much you could save. One is send the money every month to an IRA or an investment account, and they'll come and take it automatically out of your checkbook. They'll be happy to do that. So the other thing is, pay attention if you're over 50. So this is a 50 catch-up. So you can see by this slide that if you want to put money in an IRA in 2014, you could put $5,500 in. If you are over 50, you can actually put $6,500 in. So this is a now, you have until April 15th. If you haven't done that, you can go put an extra $1,000 in and it will be tax deductible. In 2015, you can do the same thing. So for 2015, if you've been saving all along for your IRA, you can now say, hey, if you are 50 or over, if you turn 50 this year, I can put in an extra $1,000. Put it in, because this is a great way to save on your income taxes during the year, but also plan for retirement. If you're an employee somewhere and have a 401k or 403b, and you have your retirement plan, it's typical for 2015 that you put $18,000 away. That's the max, and you're going, we can't even do that. But we want to be moving towards that. But once you're over 50, the important thing is, it's $24,000.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of extra money you can put away tax-free. So you're not paying income taxes on it, which gives you some more cash flow. Because that money is not going to the government, it's going in your investment account to grow. You can't go back and fix, as an employee, 2014, but you can think about what's happening in 2015 if you're 50 and older.
That's great. And so we've talked a little bit about lifestyles and savings, but there's also a third area that's important for retirement planning, and that's technical things to consider.
It's the technical are the things that really trip up people sometimes. So it's, how do I invest? So how do you invest? First, you save and make sure you put it in a savings account. But there are so many different investment options out there.
It's daunting, yeah.
It is daunting. So you got to get educated, but it doesn't mean you have to wait until you're educated on everything before you save.
Because that'll never happen.
Yeah, that will never happen. So you can open an IRA at the bank in a savings account. You can open an IRA at one of the big mutual fund companies, Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, and still have it in a money market account. Or you can use what's called a target account. So if you're 50 and you're planning to retire in 20 years, they have target accounts that would be for 2035. So that's a pretty easy way to do it as you're learning and getting up to speed. So you want to be aware of your investments and pay attention to them, and don't let anyone tell you you need to be riskier because you're behind the 8 ball in retirement, because taking more risk isn't going to necessarily get you there.
Right, it is a risk.
It is a risk, and you could lose everything, which would put you even more behind in retirement.
So what if you haven't started saving for retirement yet? Is it too late?
It's never too late. And what I don't want people to do is what I just read about a financial services company that did a survey recently, and it said, what's your plan for retirement? And 52% of the people said win the lottery.
Oh,
And
no.
so since winning the lottery is like a once in a million chance,
Right.
and probably all those people who answered really do want to retire, you need to plan somewhere and make some kind of steps. So the first thing would be to open a retirement plan. So many people don't take advantage of what's available at work, so go to work first and see if there's one that your work provides, and if not, go open an IRA. At the bank is the safest thing, easiest thing, whatever, to get started, okay? So then if you're saving and chipping away some of those pieces that we talked about, now we begin to have a plan. Okay, which is, I want to save some money. When do I want to retire? Someone told me yesterday, well, I can never retire because I won't have any income. And I'm like, well, what about Social Security? Which she's like, that won't be there. And I haven't made enough money, and my ex-husband didn't make enough money. And I said, well, let's look at Social Security is something for your retirement. So that's a technical piece that we're talking about that you need to review. There is something out there. It should be one leg of a stool, along with your savings, along with maybe a part-time job, and Social Security. Social Security is not as easy as everyone thinks. Just because you can take it at 62 doesn't mean that you should.
Right.
People have 65 stuck in their brain as a retirement age because that's when Social Security kicks in, or did kick in full time. 65 was what they picked when they started the concept of retirement in Germany in the around 1900, because they needed to move people out of the workforce to get jobs for the younger people. That's where it came from. And Social Security, that got started in 1935. Sorry, can you tell Social Security is a hot topic for me?
Yeah.
They, when Social Security started, and 65 you could collect, guess what the average age that people were when they passed away, the mortality rate?
Probably in the 70s, in their 70s.
63.
63.
63.
Oh.
So do you see how times have changed?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that people need to think about around Social Security is don't necessarily take it when they say you can, just because you go to the Social Security office and they say take it, because you never know. Every situation is different,
Right.
and you want to manage it differently. So, and it grows 8% a year if you wait from 62 up to 65. So I recommend waiting as long as you
Hold off,
can.
yeah. So let's do a little review of our own. What are the
Yes.
most important things to consider in retirement planning?
The things to consider is don't go on automatic pilot, because things change when you're over 50. The investment world changes, and you want to make sure you can assess your needs, and what you need today might not be what you need in the future. Okay, review Social Security and what you really need,
Okay.
and then consider working part-time in retirement.
And also to, increase your savings, even if it's a little bit a month.
Right, and by doing a trade-off, don't call it a huge sacrifice. Do a trade-off: lunch, dinner. It could be a new pair of pants. Hey, I'll wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or because we're not going out to dinner tonight might mean when we're retired, we can go to Vegas and hit the slot machines.
Exactly. Back to that lottery and winning plan.
Right. Well, I got to get off that plan. That's not great. What are the best ways to go about finding a trusted financial advisor, someone who can really answer these questions for you?
The two best nonprofit organizations that have certified financial planners, because as CFP like myself, you needed training to get there,
Right.
is what's called FPA.org. So that's the Financial Planning Association organization. It's a nonprofit that you put in your Social Security number and up they pop with it. The same with the NAPFA.org, and that's the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, and they have more the hourly and fee-only planners. So both of them are good, and only list certified financial planners who can look at the whole picture with you and be able to say, hey, if you put in $3,000 more a month, like we were talking about, you'll have an extra 5 or 6 years in retirement. If you wait until age 70, you'll make it till 89 or 90 with your retirement cash.
We should mention, too, that if people want to learn more about Christine, you can find her online at moneypiece.com, or you can call her toll-free at the number on your screen. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Judy.
Always fun. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.